I made 5 major life decisions before I knew what I actually valued and knowing who I was. 2 of them I'm still paying for. It's important to know who you are and what you care about. So, what does knowing yourself actually mean? Well, it's not the Instagram, TikTok, or online version that shows you journaling, doing morning routines, traveling to this really cool place, out drinking with friends. Whatever it is that makes you look idealistic, it's not that. It's the deeper version. It's your values, your wounds, things that have happened to you in the past, your patterns, conditionings, and your personality, which all comprise of the self, capital S. Why is it so important to know who we are? Well, here are the main costs for not knowing yourself. First and foremost, relationships. You attract what you understand about yourself. So if you have a sense of who you are and your values, what you're interested in, long term goals, then that is what you'll be attracted to in someone else. If you don't have that awareness, you'll just go for generic interest and attraction. And you'll just think we connect good physically, or she's pretty, she's smart, just nice. That's the worst one. Generic character traits instead of more specific ones that help you know if you may be a good match. Same thing with friendships. You're saying, well, he's a good guy and we get along. Oh, that's not necessarily a bad thing, but you want to make sure that you are aware of the things that you're looking for that would be a good match for the person you know yourself to be. Next is career. You'll optimize for the wrong things. You will look for the money or the other benefits or the prestige, whatever external factors that you think are most important in a job, instead of asking yourself, am I good at this? Can I feel challenged in it, but can I actually do it? Would I enjoy this work? Does it feel meaningful? Do I have an interest and curiosity around it? All those factors that are most important get thrown right out the window and we just chase the externals. Next is self-regulation. We can't change what we can't see. So if we often get angry or get triggered by these certain scenarios, or we don't realize that when we get triggered and we dysregulate, these are the ways that we manifest it in a negative way, all that blindness and ignorance to our dysregulation wreaks havoc both on ourselves and those around us. So it's important to be able to name, this is the emotion I'm experiencing. This is what I feel like doing. Here's what I'm going to do instead. Of course, that's a process. It takes practice, but it's really important that you know who you are in that regard. When we don't know ourselves, we fill the gap with different roles: father, provider, employee, and we slowly become the role instead of the person that plays the role. We over identify with these areas of life because we don't have a deeper sense of who we are. Our career has to be everything. Our fatherhood has to be everything. Our friendship has to be everything. Our interest and hobby, whatever we do, has to take over and be our everything. It consumes us externally and it totally negates the underlying person that we are, that is including but goes beyond all those externalities. It's important because if you need to be reliant on these external roles to work out, then there's this absolute issue that happens, which is that thing needs to be everything. So when it doesn't work out, it destroys you. You can't handle it. You don't know who you are and you go into a crisis versus knowing the person that you are, being settled in that, playing these roles in a way that reflects the person that you are. But even if those roles don't necessarily mirror or accurately reflect the person that you are, you can make peace with it because it's just a role. It's not who you are. Like, I'm going to talk briefly about what's called the Johari window. So it's this quadrant here with 4 different boxes. So at the top left, you'll see the one that says open. And that means that you know yourself and you are known to others. This is the most ideal quadrant to be in. And if we move to the right, there's the blind spot where you're not known to yourself, but you're known to others. So maybe it's a particular facet about who you are that other people see, but you don't necessarily see. The bottom left there is hidden. So that means you have a self knowledge about this particular facet, but it's not known to others. So maybe it's something you're really good at, but you don't want to share, or something you really struggle with that you're keeping to yourself. In the bottom right, which is the worst one to be, you don't know who you are and others don't know you. It's a complete unknowingness. So, why is it so important to use this framework? Because when things are unknown, they're unmanageable. We can't deal with them. We don't know what to do with them if we don't have an awareness. So, awareness is always the first step. Depending on the situation, it matters more that you're aware or that someone else is aware. But nonetheless, all four of those quadrants become a lived experience at some point. So, you want to be able to name using the Johari window framework, what are the areas where I'm known? What are my blind spots? What's hidden? And then what's completely unknown? So, where do you begin in actually being able to know yourself? It doesn't start with a Myers Briggs or some other psych pop personality test. It starts with this question: what am I most afraid people will find out about me, or that I'm least willing to accept within myself? And these are the parts of us that we tend to push down. In a way, we neglect them because we don't want them to be aware in our own periphery, but then also in the eyes of others. And then just remember, you're made up of your personality. So knowing your persona and who you are, your conditioning in your past, the things that have happened to you, your upbringing, your values, the things that you care most about are the things that most drive the decisions that you make in life. And then your wounds, the things that have happened to you that have shaped you negatively, that informed the suffering that's happened to you. All these, along with paying attention to the patterns in your life, will help you get a sense of who you are as a man. And I'd encourage you, if you haven't taken the time, gift yourself more silence and solitude. Those tend to be the moments that the truth reveals itself, and we really can get a sense of who we are, where we stand in a situation, what we need in life. All those things come through a lot of quiet and still time with ourselves. But if you don't think you are valuable as a person, you'll never want to spend time with you. So the first step actually may be self acceptance that will lead to self awareness. I know for me personally, I ran for myself for many, many years because I didn't like what I saw. I didn't want to deal with it. I just couldn't stand to also deal with the wounds that I had. And how important and life changing was it when I was able to sit with myself, accept myself, and then deepen the awareness, not just the parts that are good and the value that I have to offer the world, but also the wounds, the things that really hurt, that make me vulnerable and look not so great in the eyes of others. All that comprised of who I am, and bringing that forth within you to your own awareness and others is life changing.